gmna uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Here are our top stories.
Montreal police have confirmed deploying an automated license plate camera as part of a targeted investigation, capturing plates and vehicle data for later analysis. The system operates on city streets. Camille Dowsett has the full story.
Police have rolled out an automated license plate camera as part of a targeted investigation, officials confirmed Tuesday afternoon. The mobile unit sits on a busy downtown intersection, silently snapping images of every plate that drives by and logging the make, model, and color of each vehicle. Investigators will later pull the digital archive to match plates against known suspects or stolen vehicle lists. Officers said the system is being used for a single, time-sensitive case rather than city-wide surveillance, and that data will be retained only as long as the inquiry requires. The deployment marks an official acknowledgement of this technology in Montreal's policing toolkit today. Camille Dowsett, GMNA News, Montreal.
Residents and activists gathered in Blainville today to block the proposed expansion of the Stables hazardous waste landfill. The U.S.-owned facility, already operating on the island's outskirts, seeks to enlarge its site, bringing the perimeter closer to homes. Protesters chant that the addition could release toxic chemicals into the neighborhood, threatening health and safety. Several families have set up a tent encampment near the main gate, refusing to leave until officials address concerns. Police report a crowd surrounding the entrance, while city officials say they are reviewing the expansion plan. Stables maintains the project meets all regulatory standards, but community members argue the proximity to residential streets and schools makes the risk unacceptable. The Municipal Council has not yet scheduled a vote on the permit, leaving the project in limbo. The demonstration continues throughout the day, with organizers urging authorities to halt project until an independent environmental review is completed.
Via Rail Canada announced today at about 1:46 in the afternoon that it will build a new multimodal station in Dorval, the suburb that hosts Montreal Trudeau International Airport. The project aims to link rail passengers directly to a range of public transit services, giving travelers a seamless connection to the airport. Construction is slated to begin later this year, with the station designed to accommodate intercity trains, commuter lines, and future light rail extensions. Officials said the hub will reduce car trips, cut congestion, and improve accessibility for both residents and visitors. The initiative follows growing demand for integrated transportation options around the airport corridor. Via Rail, Canada's national passenger rail operator, highlighted that the station will serve as a gateway for domestic and international travelers, integrating with the upcoming REM extension to the airport terminal.
A Montreal man has been fined $1,000 after presenting 4 fabricated AI-generated court decisions, including 2 alleged Supreme Court rulings, prompting judicial scrutiny of artificial intelligence in legal citations. Anton Prevost has the full story.
On August 16th, a Montreal court handed down a $1,000 penalty after a local man tried to lean on 4 invented legal decisions, including 2 he claimed came from the Supreme Court of Canada. The citations, which he presented in his own case, were later traced to an artificial intelligence program that generated the faux rulings. Judges said the fabricated references had no basis in law and ordered the fine as a deterrent. This is the latest instance prompting Quebec courts to tighten scrutiny of AI-produced legal content following a recent trial where a defendant relied on made-up case law. Authorities warned lawyers and litigants to verify sources before filing. Anton Prevost, GMNA News, Plateau.
Tomorrow, Quebec Premier Christine Fréchette and Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney will travel to Newfoundland to sign a historic agreement on the Churchill Falls hydroelectric project. The ceremony, set for the provincial capital, aims to resolve a dispute that has lingered for decades between Quebec and Newfoundland and Labrador over the ownership and revenue sharing of the massive power plant. Both governments say the deal will establish a long-term framework for electricity sales, joint investments, and compensation tied to future generation capacity. Officials note that the agreement could unlock new renewable energy projects and stabilize regional power markets. The signing follows months of intensive negotiations and is expected to be witnessed by senior officials from both provinces, as well as representatives from the federal government. The pact also includes provisions for shared water management and a schedule for periodic review by an independent commission.
Up next, we examine the surge in homeless deaths across Quebec, women hardest hit, and what officials are doing. We will be right back.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news. Welcome back. Deaths among people experiencing homelessness have climbed sharply across Quebec over the 5-year span from 2020 to 2024, health officials reported. At least 400 individuals have died during that period, and data show women bear a disproportionate share of the fatalities. The province's public health agency said the increase reflects a combination of harsh winter exposure, limited shelter capacity, and growing substance use challenges, although it stopped short of assigning a single cause. Advocacy groups warn that women experiencing homelessness face heightened vulnerability to violence and inadequate medical care, factors that may contribute to the gender gap. Municipal services are being urged to expand safe housing options and targeted outreach, while researchers plan a deeper review of mortality trends to inform future policy. The report also highlighted regional disparities, with urban centers seeing the highest numbers.
On Saturday, a pedestrian in her 60s was fatally struck by a van in Malartic, Quebec, according to the Sûreté du Québec. The incident occurred on a local road. Camille Dowsett has the full story.
Authorities say a van struck a pedestrian in her 60s on Saturday, August 15, 2026, in the town of Malartic, part of Quebec's Abitibi-Témiscamingue region. The collision occurred on a local street near the center of town, where the woman was walking when the vehicle failed to stop. Sûreté du Québec responded quickly, confirming that the victim died at the scene. Police are conducting a preliminary investigation, looking into factors such as speed and driver attention. No other injuries have been reported, and the road was closed briefly while investigators documented the scene. The incident adds to a series of traffic-related fatalities in the area. Officials have not yet released the identity of the driver, and traffic on the main thoroughfare resumed after roughly an hour of closure. Camille Dowsett, GMNA News, Malartic.
Police rescued an unconscious man from the Petite Décharge River in Alma early Sunday. The Sûreté du Québec's water rescue team responded after learning the individual had fallen into the river Saturday night. Alma sits on the north shore of Lac Saint-Jean, where the Petite Décharge flows into the lake, and local emergency services were called to the scene. Officers tracked the victim downstream near the shoreline and pulled him from the current. He remained unconscious when paramedics assumed care, providing on-site treatment before transporting him to a nearby medical facility for further evaluation. Authorities confirmed the operation concluded without additional injuries and that the man's condition remains stable. The Sûreté du Québec has opened an investigation into the circumstances of the fall and is seeking any witnesses. No other persons were reported injured in connection with the incident.
Today at 5 a.m., a former UQAM student gathered 810 volunteers across the island to form what could become the largest human lily ever recorded. The participants assembled in a coordinated pattern near the downtown core, each holding a colored panel to create the flower's petals and stem. Organizers say the design follows strict Guinness World Records guidelines, aiming to surpass the current benchmark for a human lily formation. The effort reflects a growing trend of large-scale human shapes used to celebrate community spirit and set new milestones. Officials from the record-keeping body were on site to verify measurements and count participants. If approved, the achievement will place Montreal in the global record books, showcasing the city's ability to mobilize people for a shared, creative goal. The event drew attention from local media and sparked excitement among onlookers who cheered throughout the early morning.
Sandhill cranes will be classified as fair game this fall in 2 Quebec regions and selected Ontario areas, marking the first hunting permission for the species in those provinces. Antin Prevost has the full story.
Sandhill cranes will be listed as fair game species this fall, opening designated zones in 2 Quebec regions and several Ontario districts to hunters for the first time. Provincial wildlife agencies say the new classification follows a review of population health and aims to balance conservation with traditional sport. The change takes effect in the upcoming hunting season, allowing licensed shooters to pursue the birds during the usual fall window. Officials note that hunters must follow strict bag limits and respect protected areas that remain off limits. The move marks a shift in how the iconic migratory bird is managed across the border, expanding opportunities for those who track game in the region. Local outfitters expect a modest rise in participation as the season approaches. Antin Prevost, GMNA News, Montreal.
Let's check tonight's forecast and see what the skies have in store for us.
A fast western jet and a falling pressure field are pulling a moist fringe into Montreal tonight. On this date, the all-time high reached 30.6 degrees Celsius in 2025, set during a lingering heat wave that pushed the city into record territory. The all-time low fell to 13.2 degrees Celsius in 2021, recorded in an abrupt cold snap that followed a sudden Arctic dip. By contrast, the climatological normals sit around 22 degrees for the high and 16 for the low, underscoring how today's temperatures sit comfortably between the historic extremes. The live radar shows a band of rain shower echoes marching eastward across the southern suburbs. Centered just south of the St. Lawrence at 10 p.m., the western jet is steering the cells northward at a brisk clip, and the core will brush the island's western edge around 10:15 p.m. By 10:30, the echo will have cleared the downtown core, leaving a clean, overcast sky as the last drops evaporate. The map now looks quiet to the east, confirming a dry night ahead. Current conditions sit at 19 degrees, overcast with 81% humidity and a gentle northeast breeze at 6 kilometers per hour, gusting to 18. Pressure is near average but falling, signaling the incoming unsettled system that the jet stream, blowing west at 174 kilometers per hour, will feed throughout the night. As the low drifts east, clouds will thicken before sunrise, but no measurable rain is expected. UV index reads 5. No weather alerts are active. The night will transition into a mild, cloudy morning before the next system arrives. Monday will begin with lingering overcast skies and a high of 24 degrees, then dip to a low of 16 as the pressure rises modestly. Tuesday offers a break in the clouds, mostly clear, with a high of 25 and a low of 15, thanks to a ridge building aloft that will suppress lift. Wednesday reintroduces moisture. A weak trough will bring overcast conditions and a 45% chance of rain, high 23, low 18. Thursday clears dramatically under a strong ridge, high 23, low 17 and clear skies. Friday returns to mainly clear, high 24, low 16, as the pattern remains stable. These swings highlight a week of alternating ridge-trough dynamics, with brief rain windows and modest temperature shifts. And that's your weather. Remember, the wrap is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
Coming up, traffic updates. A look at what's on today, plus a quick sports preview before we break. We will be right back.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
And now here's Jason with sports.
Habs headlines heating up as training camp gets closer every day. LJ Mooney is not apologizing for his size. The Canadiens' prospect points to Cole Caulfield and Lane Hutson as proof that Montreal is exactly the right organization for a player who has to outwork the tape measure. With the Canadiens sitting clean under the salary cap, there is room on this roster for the right prospect to push through. Two questions define the Canadiens heading into the new season. Can Jacob Dobish back up a stellar rookie year in net? And did Kent Hughes just hand Ivan Demidov one of the last 8-year entry deals the league will ever see? Demidov landing in the 90th percentile for a key statistical category suggests Hughes liked those odds. The Canadiens' captaincy has never been a straightforward conversation, and that is the point. This franchise has a long tradition of turning the letter on the jersey into a full-blown debate. It kept fans arguing for years, and honestly some of those summers were more entertaining than the hockey itself. Big questions, big roster, and camp is right around the corner.
Thanks, Jason.
Welcome back. Cemeteries in Drummondville have posted public notices after maintenance contracts expired, seeking relatives of the interred to prevent neglected graves. The effort aims to secure upkeep for aging tombstones. Antin Prevost has the full story.
At the entrance of a historic burial ground on Rue Principale, fresh flyers have been stapled to the gate, each bearing a simple plea: locate any surviving family members of those interred here. Cemetery officials say the upkeep agreements that once covered plot maintenance ran out last month, leaving headstones weathered and lawns untended. With no private caretakers stepping forward, the sites have turned to public notices as a last resort effort to prevent further decay. The postings list dates of death and request contact information so that descendants can arrange repairs or assume responsibility. Authorities hope the outreach will reconnect families with their heritage before the monuments succumb to neglect. Antin Prevost, GMNA News, Drummondville.
An apple grower in Quebec is testing an anti-hail cannon to protect orchard fruit from damaging storms, a trial that could safeguard yields across the region. Simon Fortier has the full story.
An apple grower in rural Quebec is firing a prototype anti-hail cannon across rows of trees as part of a trial to protect fruit from sudden storms. The device, mounted on a steel frame, emits rapid bursts of compressed air whenever a hail-forming cloud is detected, creating a turbulent shield that aims to break falling ice before it reaches the blossoms. The farmer says the orchard has suffered several costly hail events in recent seasons, prompting the search for a mechanical solution. Technicians from a local agricultural research center have installed sensors and a weather monitoring system to trigger the cannon automatically. The test runs through the late summer, with results to be evaluated before any wider rollout. Simon Fortier, GMNA News, Quebec.
Thank you, Montreal, for tuning in. Tonight's look at the Quebec man fined for citing fabricated AI-generated court cases reminded us how quickly misinformation spreads. Stay with us tomorrow for more stories that matter to our city, and keep the conversation going. I'm Peter Miller, the Rap, signing off.